So guys, Daredevil is now playable within Marvel Rivals, and in today's video we're going to be going over everything you need to know about this character, from his basic abilities and some tips and tricks that I think you guys should know about this character before playing with him. So first, let's go over his really interesting passive ability, that being Radar Sense, where he's able to detect enemy movements within a set radius, but is also not able to see any enemies outside of this radius, like completely. He can't see any enemies, I believe, outside of like 50-ish meters, I believe this is. Maybe more close to 80 or something. I don't know how far this is. Basically, from the steps here, or like a little bit up the steps, you can see that you just can't see the two bots that are all the way back there. But as you get closer, they'll once again be within the radius, and then they'll be pinged once again. Also, this ping works through walls, so you can see enemies through walls as well, which is very, very funny. Alongside that though, he also has a wall climb, which he can stop midway and just kind of chill there for a bit. This is very, very funny because you can just watch an enemy walk past you through a wall and then just jump them, which is really, really funny to do. With his passives out of the way, let's now go over his basic abilities. The first one being his melee attacks, which are the billy clubs here. He just swings them. Pretty self-explanatory, but this attack is also going to be building up your fury stacks, which are the little fire icons that you see there in the middle, and you're going to need 2 stacks of fury to do either your Devil's Throw or your Devil's Chain attacks. Now, Devil's Throw is a ranged attack where you throw your billy clubs, and Devil's Chain is a much more closer ranged attack where you slam the ground in front of you. Now, the main reason you're going to want to be doing each of these abilities is because depending on how much damage each of these abilities do, you're going to be gaining a little bit of overhealth, which is the main way Daredevil is able to survive in different combat engagements. So making sure you land each of these attacks is going to be very, very important. Alongside that, whenever you use any of these attacks, you also gain access to Righteous Cross, which is a enhanced basic attack where he lunges forward and does a little cross style attack. So your main objective here with a basic combo for Daredevil is do your basic melee attacks, build up your fury, do either Devil's Throw or Devil's Chain, then Righteous Cross, and just continue that combo. Now, the other way you can gain Righteous Cross is by using your grappling hook, because yes, Daredevil has a grappling hook. After using it, you'll gain access to Righteous Cross, and you can grapple hook an enemy towards you and Righteous Cross straight into their face, which is probably the best way of doing this if you want to use it offensively, but it's also his best getaway tool as well, so keep that in mind. But also, if you want to, you can use Righteous Cross as a getaway tool, but one of the things to note is that Righteous Cross will just lunge you in whatever direction you are facing, so keep that in mind when you're backpedaling away from an enemy. Accidentally activate Righteous Cross and then just dash into them. I've constantly been doing this today, so just keep that in mind as well. Now, for his other main ability that you're going to want to have constantly up is Sonic Pursuit. This allows you to mark an enemy within range and you'll just gain a speed boost, which is nice, but also you'll receive less damage from those marked targets. Now, you can only mark one target, but they're just going to be dealing less damage towards you and you gain a free speed boost, which is very, very nice. Now, Sonic Pursuit is basically something that you should have active all the time whenever you see an enemy within range. Just mark them, you get a free speed boost and damage reduction, so always have this up. And it's a very good tool to help you get out of spawn quickly. Let's say that the objective's very, very close. As soon as you see a target within range, literally mark them and get that free benefit. It's going to save you a whole load of time. And then for his last main ability, you have Objection, which is his deflect. He's able to deflect any projectile thrown directly at him. I believe he's not able to deflect anything behind him, so you need to be actually facing the projectile and then you can deflect it. I also believe that he's able to deflect the projectile in whatever way he is facing, so you are able to kind of send the projectile in the opposite direction if you want to, so you can send it into an opposing group of players. Say an Iron Man is trying to solo ult you can send the ult either back at him or towards his team, whatever you want to do. I believe the only main thing he's not able to deflect is Angela's ult, because it's a weird kind of projectile, but Magneto ult, Iron Man ult, Groot ult, any kind of like bigger round projectile that seems, or any bullets really, he's able to deflect. But Angela's ult, I don't think he is able to deflect. That's the only main one that I actually know about. There might be other stuff that he's able to not deflect, but I think he is able to deflect pretty much everything in the game, bar a couple exceptions here and there. With that said, let's now go over his ultimate, which is Let the Devil Out. This is where he embraces the beast within, and enemies within Daredevil's line of sight take damage and suffer a ramping blind effect, and you're going to be continually gaining fury whilst the ultimate is active. So it says line of sight, but it really does mean like enemies within like the range of the ult. You can see that there's like a ring around him, and this ring does move with Daredevil. So whenever they are within this ring and are looking at Daredevil, they'll just continuously take damage, and you're going to also be gaining Fury rapidly, so you can just be always throwing out your Devil's Throw or Devil's Chain attacks and your Righteous Crosses and just do a whole load of melee combos whilst the ultimate is active. Now, if the enemy isn't looking at you, you're not going to be dealing damage to them, but that's very counterintuitive because you want to be looking at the Daredevil to deal with him whilst he's in this ult. So it's a very difficult ult to deal with. Probably a lot of support ults are going to be able to counter it with the healing they're able to provide, but if you don't have a support ult, Daredevil is going to be very easily able to just deal with your entire team with how strong this ultimate is. With all that said, that is all of his basic abilities. Some tips now for Daredevil. First thing to note is, obviously, do not be going into any long range engagements with Daredevil, because you cannot see anything outside of the range that his radar pulse allows you to see. So if you go into an open map that has a long sightline, just try and avoid those long sightlines really, because a character with ranged attacks has a massive advantage over you because you literally cannot see. So just avoid any and all long range engagements with Daredevil whatsoever. Then as soon as you get into range and see an enemy target, ping them, get the speed boost, and just close the distance as best you can. There are some maps where sometimes a long range engagement or a long sightline is unavoidable, so in those cases you really going to be clinging to different objects within the world to hide yourself, so you can then get into those closer range engagements, start seeing where the enemies are at, and then just take advantage of your wall hacks ability. But other than that, mainly stay out of the long range engagements because you can't see. Next main thing to worry about here is the Righteous Cross. There are so many times when I've been backpedaling away from an enemy target, accidentally activate Righteous Cross and then dash towards them. When you activate Righteous Cross, be sure, if you're trying to get away, to look away from the target you're fighting and then dash backwards. I wish there was a setting to allow you to like have Righteous Cross be set to a different ability or a different button even. I don't know if that is a setting, let me know down in the comments if it is, but I haven't been able to find anything. So just make sure you're activating Righteous Cross when you mean to, and you actually aim it in the correct spot, because worst thing that happens is you're backpedaling away from an enemy who's still in melee range, you're doing your different melee combos, and then you just dash towards them when you have not the health required to deal with the actual target. So that's the other main downside of Daredevil there. Make sure you're using your Righteous Cross correctly. And other than that, there's nothing really else I have to say here about Daredevil. He is honestly the most fun melee DPS I think in the entire game right now, being able to just throw in your melee combos and then gain access to your Devil's Throw and Devil's Chain abilities and Righteous Cross as well. It just adds a very fun gameplay loop of just weaving in these different melee combos, which is just a whole load of fun. Throw on top of that the wall hacks, which is very funny, the deflect, the grappling hook, the pursuit buff. It's just a whole character that I am very much liking and really enjoy the play style of. If you're a fan of Iron Fist, you're going to love this character. If you're a fan of just stealthy ninja characters that are able to very easily see players once they're in close range, he's a whole load of fun. I cannot tell you how fun it is to just be able to sneak behind the enemy backline, see exactly where the enemy team is, and then just have a massive advantage on sneaking up on them and dealing with the supports in the backline and just confusing the hell out of people. He's such a fun character, and I would highly recommend trying him out. With that said though, that is everything for this video. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed. If you did, if you could leave a like and subscribe to the channel, I would very much appreciate it. And with that all said, I'll see you all in the next one.